Ya, voy a entrar en todos los canales para ver si en efecto lo estamos. Ok. No sé si estamos live.
It says live, 40 seconds.
Yes, it's saying it's live, but I'm not seeing it on LinkedIn. It should be. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it. Yep, here it is. Okay, we are here. We're live already on LinkedIn. It should be. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it. Yep, here it is. Okay,
Oh, we have echo.
we are live. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna check.
Everybody can see and hear you now.
Yeah, everyone can. So I guess let's wait for 2 minutes so everyone will be joining. And meanwhile, I'm gonna see if we are live as well.
Everybody can see and hear you now.
Yeah, everyone can. Let's see now here. Where is it? We joining?
It says the event will start soon. Wait for the host to start.
There's 10 people, 11.
11 people.
Already.
It's pre-live.
Where are you seeing it? Like the pre-live? On Instagram?
My app. It says waiting for the host to start.
There's 10 people, 11.
Okay. Well, I guess I would say we could start. And I'm gonna check all the rest of the channels. The most important one, which is LinkedIn, is already live. So hi, hello, Marwan. Yeah, people is already commenting, so that's great. And so I guess it's the moment to say who is who and to introduce ourselves. So I'm just gonna step and say, Hernan, please, it's your turn.
Hello, how are you, everybody? I'm here in Madrid right now. I was involved in paddle since the last 35 years. I started like a professional player. I played for 22 years as a professional player, and since the beginning of the 90s until 2012, when I decided to stop playing professional when I was 42 years old. Well, I play all over the world as a professional player. I was ranking in the top ranking for many years. After that, I worked for 7 years in the international expansion of the World Padel Tour. And since the last 2 years, I'm working for a company, for a Swedish company, a private equity company that is called Triton, that we own different companies in paddle. And one of those is MejorSet paddle courts, one of the biggest manufacturers of courts in the world, that we are in Alicante in Spain. And we are all over the world building beautiful courts, as you see here in my background here, like in the event in Premier in Madrid, Premier Padel in P1 in Madrid. And also I'm involved in the company as the international development manager that we are trying to take this company, in the most countries in the world right now. So this is my small background in paddle. So I've been, since this sport was born in the beginning of the 90s, even before I was born in Mexico in the 60s, in the end of the 60s. But I started with paddle when just was only a few courts in Argentina and Spain.
That's great. Thank you very much, Hernan. So now I guess it's Anna's turn.
Hi, how are you? Here in San Diego, California. I am the general manager of Padel Box, a company that started in this business 10 years and a month ago right now. We came to the States 10 years thinking that it was going to be as incredible as it was in Europe. And then it only took us 10 years to wait to see that is actually happening. The game is finally growing. We have seen big expectations from the last 2 years, and we are now the official partner for this wonderful company, MejorSet, and we are very excited about the near future in the United States.
Thank you very much. And now I guess it's Mario's turn.
Hi everyone, I'm the US and Canada country manager for MejorSet. My background has been in fitness, and in 2018 I opened the first two paddle courts in San Diego. Very different times, even though it's not that long ago, how the market was at that time. So happy to share that in the webinar. And looking forward to riding this wave of paddle in the US, which is starting to get a lot of traction. Is really, really interesting. So for all of those that are outside the US, welcome. We'd love to tell you what's going on here. And for those here in the US, we're looking to opening clubs or in the paddle industry. We look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you very much. Mario, my name, well, it's Anastasia. I'm the marketing manager of MejorSet. I started a year ago. I fell in love with Padel. I've never played before. So I started just in March. And now it's just, my passion as for all of us that are here in this special event. So I guess now that we all introduced ourselves, I would say let's start with the questions, with the agenda we have, which was what's the beginning of paddle? What was the origin from your point of view? And I think nobody can answer better this question than Hernan. So please,
Yeah,
let us
well,
know.
I will give a short, because I know that everybody that is listening to this knows mostly where paddle was coming from. This was coming from Acapulco, from Mexico, from a house. They just want to build a tennis court that there was no enough space. So they were, doing like when you play against the wall in tennis, so that we call here in Spain or in Argentina fronton. So they were having vacations in that house, some friends from Argentina and from Spain. So they decided to put a wall in the other side. Well, and this, just a couple of months later, just started with this new sport, playing with rackets of wood. They were just bringing this racket from US that they were called, I don't remember right now the name, but Marcraft. They were called Marcraft, these wood rackets, okay? So, well, this was back in 1969. So then this big guy from Enrique Corcuera from Mexico, that he was married with Viviana. She's an Argentina woman. They brought friends from Argentina and from Spain. So that's why these three countries were the ones who started with paddle. Why? Because in that house there was people from those two countries, and they took the dimension of this court to their countries, and that's why the sport started in Mexico and then went to Argentina and to Spain, and that were the two, the biggest countries that they started with paddle, with Mexico, of course. So this is a small how we start this sport, this lovely sport. So we have to thank Enrique Corcuera and his wife Viviana for making this happen. Also, the people that took this to Argentina and to Spain, that was the Familia Menditegui from Argentina, and also Hohenlohe from Marbella, from Spain. So these were more the responsibles of starting this beautiful sport. And then, well, we know, everybody knows the history that then started really big in Argentina, then came to Spain. Spain was, really booming in the beginning of the 2000s. Argentina happened that in the 90s, and now it's booming all over the world. It took a lot of years. In some countries was faster than other ones, but right now you can see the sport all over Europe. You can see it in Italy, in France, in the Nordics. Now it's coming to Germany, to UK, Portugal. You see a lot of beautiful clubs all over the world, and the same now in Mexico, Latam, not North, South America. Now it's coming to Venezuela, Ecuador, Colombia. So, and we don't have to forget about Asia, Middle East, and that part of the world that also in Middle East has been growing a lot in the last 5 6 years. And well, this is a short history of what happened in paddle since 1969, a lot of years when this was born, but we can see a lot of progress in the last 2 3 years after the pandemic, how big is going this sport all over the world.
That's right. And so, as you said, this is growing a lot, and Anna and Mario are based in United States, so they've seen how paddle is growing there. And what do you see? How do you see this growth these past 6 years? What are your thoughts about this? And what was your experience with this situation, with this growing?
Well, for my part, I can tell you that maybe 6 years ago, we were supplying one, two, three courses a year. We were very excited because for us it was amazing. 3 4 courses a year, big projects that took months to accomplish. But as I said, I will say right during the pandemic is when everything start growing. Um, right now, our company can supply between like 20 25 courses a year. We mostly work in residential and also like projects for like country clubs. We have seen that, for example, a couple of years ago, people asked for 2 3 courts. Right now, we're getting emails that is people are looking for places for 6 8 courts, 10 courts. I can tell you that most of the courses in the United States are full after like 4 p.m. A lot of them are also very busy during the morning. Right now, we are answering a great amount of emails, phone calls through Instagram. Through all the clients that we have worked with. It's the tendency is that it's growing. It's growing. It's growing. I mean, I myself wake up at 6 7 every morning, and I don't stop answering phone calls or emails or requests until like 5 or 6. Some clients even call me at night. You know what I mean? So yes, I truly believe that we are in a right position right now, especially with companies like MejorSet that already have 20 years of experience manufacturing. For us, it's very important the quality, the product, the delivery and the shipping, how everything is done. And I believe that the year 2024, it's going to be the beginning of something very big because we are already working in a lot of projects that are going to happen next year. And we had to understand that when you want to start doing a club or your project, there's a lot of things involved. It's not only the paddle court. You have to have the right space. You have to build a concrete base. You have to talk to maybe architects, engineers. All of these things take a little while, but with the experience that we have and the knowledge, we think that in the next year and the next year, all of these things are going to really be accomplished successfully.
Yeah, I believe that the growth is going to be exponential. Like Anna is saying, in 2024, we already see the traction and all the new clubs that are going to get open in the next year. And it's very different from, like I said before, 2018. I opened the first course here in San Diego and then traveling around the US trying to figure out why wasn't the sport growing, right? What was limiting the sport? And I think it was the approach of being, paddle courts having been inside tennis clubs and barriers of entry for a lot of people that were not members of those clubs and that couldn't access and play. And, I believe there's a few things that have happened in the US over the past year, 2 years that have really pushed everything forward. One being the New York Yankees invest in A1 paddle tour that has created a lot of publicity. Now we're seeing, the Today Show, for example, featuring paddle. And, we're just going to keep seeing this traction and this growth. Like, yesterday I was talking to a client and he told me, it's like, look, I never played paddle, come from the racquetball background. So as soon as I play the first day, I'm hooked, and all he can't stop thinking about anything else, So that's what we're starting to see.
So why do you think? What were the reasons? Why do you think is it really growing right now in United States, and it wasn't that big before?
Me personally, I just think that is it's like soccer. It took many years to, like football in Europe is called football, over here is called soccer. It took a few years to be successful here. Um, I don't know. I think during the pandemic, a lot of people were home. We were watching videos. Some clients called me because they were actually at home watching videos, and they got hooked to see videos in at the World Padel Tour, for example. Um, I also think that, I don't know. It's about time now. It just happened, and it's not that it's not paddle here. We actually have paddle, like this paddle in New York. You can play paddle in Miami. You can play paddle in San Diego. You can play paddle in Los Angeles, in all over Texas.
In all
We have
good.
supplies course in Louisiana, in Idaho, like many places. There's actually, if you want to play, you can actually play in United States. It's just that I I really want to thank those beginners, the brave, companies and clients that really wanted to start with this years ago, because they really are the ones that open the market to everybody. So what is happening is that the game, as we all know, it's a wonderful game. I play myself. It's very addictive. So all those courts are kind of like full now, and every single paddle player brings a few friends, and those friends get hooked right away. So I believe that maybe this is why it's growing right now.
Yeah, I think also, like, somebody was mentioning on the chat about pickleball, and I think pickleball. Some people had seen pickleball as a barrier of entry in the U.S. With paddle, and I think it's completely the opposite. What pickleball has generated is communities, and communities are very powerful. Community of, and that's kind of really like, one of the biggest advantages of paddle and pickleball is that normally you're playing 2v2. You're creating a community, and that sense of belonging to a community, enjoying, having a good time, and exercising at the same time, has allowed the growth of a sport like pickleball. And we can discuss this a little bit later, but we're seeing a lot of traction of clubs now that are open paddle clubs with some pickleball courts on them. The reason why is to attract that. So I think everything is just been like a perfect storm of things happening. There's a lot of people that see, that went through the growth of racquetball in the 1970s in the US, and has seen what happens when the sports boom like that. And now recently, obviously, pickleball. But there's been other sports like platform tennis in the Northeast, for example, that have been also, is very important right now with what's going on in that region. So I think it's just been the perfect storm right now of everything that's happening, and that's why it's all coming right now.
Yeah, as you were mentioning pickleball right now, we were having in the agenda another question that was actually related with this, and it's the comparison with other sports, as we were mentioning soccer and pickleball, and all this. I would say, yeah. What are your thoughts on this? On how these two sports or all these sports are gonna be, working together? And yeah, if you see this properly, like.
I will give you my opinion, and also for the people that are asking. Thanks, first of all, thank you for all the people that is joined here the webinar. I see people from all over the world, from France, from US, from Canada, from different countries here, also in Europe. Thanks to all of them for the questions. If we go to pickleball, I mean, I can tell you my experience, because we have this also compared to tennis back in the 90s when we started in Argentina and also in Spain. I mean, we are coming from the racket sports, so also from Jamaica. Petro, how are you? Also, we are coming. We are coming all for the racket sports, so we are friends. That's the most important thing. We are friends, and we can play. Even I go here to a club here, David Lloyd Club here in Madrid. We play tennis and we play paddle. Same friends, no problem. our friends of the Sport House in Connecticut, they just built a beautiful club in Connecticut, in Norwalk, that has five paddle courts and four pickleball, and it's beautiful. You can play both sports. Also, there's a lot of places here in Europe that you can play tennis and you can play paddle. So for me, pickleball, paddle, tennis, they're friends. Different type of sports, similar. You have similar things. You play with a racket, you play with balls. The score is similar, of course. So for me, it's more not to compare and try to fight. It's more to have, to be friends and try to make the sport that is lovely to make sports, and to join these different sports and do it together. So for me, I mean, we have to learn, of course, a lot from other sports. Paddle has to learn a lot, and we have been doing this in the last 30 years, learning from bigger sports than us. And also we have to learn about pickleball in US, and I think that also pickleball has things to achieve from paddle, or to look from paddle, because we are similar sports, as I said before, and we have to try to be friends more than to try to be enemies. People sometimes think that we have to be enemies, but no, it's just the opposite. We have to be friends.
Any other comments regarding this, Mario, Anna?
Someone
Yeah.
said that the live stream in LinkedIn is not working. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. But
No, it is working. It wasn't working the last link, but there is one that it's displayed right now, so
okay,
it should
good,
work.
perfect.
Hi, thank you for hosting. Looking forward to learning. Okay, so let's see what else we had in the agenda. Actually, I think we went over all the topics for now. So I'm gonna ask you some other questions that we had here, like what are the challenges that you're seeing right now in the United States and in Canada regarding the availability, the spaces, licenses, everything.
Yeah, so I think that's an important topic. As we start seeing the growth, we start seeing the challenges, right? And those come mainly, I would say, there's a few, but one would be, you start looking to build an indoor club. Finding the right warehouse space can be challenging due to columns, the height. As we know, the International Padel Federation says you have to have 6 meters, which is about 20 feet clearance at least, right? Um, so those are some challenges that some of our customers have found. It hasn't been easy for them finding some spaces. So that's something to consider. Finding the right space is very important. And then as we see everything growing, we're going to see what happens in some markets where now there's going to be a lot of clubs coming up, right? So we're going to see I believe that's going to be good for the sport, and we're going to grow exponentially. But there's going to be maybe a time of adjustment, and it's like, okay, we're all here now. Where are the players coming from, right? But obviously, features like the Today Show and media, this is just going to grow fast. So I think it's going to overcome those challenges.
Anna, what are your thoughts? What are the challenges, and are they easy to overcome, or is it people saying that they are harder than they actually are? Just let us know your thoughts.
There's some difficulties, but we have managed over the years. I'm assuming that to build a tennis court, it also had to have its complications. You had to find the right space. Tennis courts, soccer fields, they're all over. So over here, the challenge is the communication between our companies, between the client, the managers, the architects, the engineers. I think that if the communication is very, very clear from the beginning, and you give the client all the information and all the tools for him to find the right space, to build the right concrete base, to go to so a lot of clients, they send us the floor plans for a warehouse. I want to build 8 paddle courts. And then sometimes we look at it and like, no, but you have a column over here. But what about if you turn it? What about if you do this? What about if you put maybe 4 inside, 4 outside? I think we have to really help clients to understand that finding the right place, the right location is very important. And if we all communicate and give the right information, especially like technical information, I think this is going to help a lot of clients, and it's going to make them feel secure, when they look for spaces. So if a client, for example, is looking for a space for eight paddle courts, and we tell them is exactly what a paddle court measures, plus the space that you need between courts, or maybe you want to add like a single court, maybe this, maybe you wanna like two pickleball courts because it's working really well with paddle. Through us is also going to be helpful for the clients to understand how to how to go through those difficulties that are actually, that if you really want to do it, and you have all the tools, I think it's not going to be such a big problem. As Mario said, it's going to maybe take a little time for people to understand all of these technical issues, but once you have everything on the table, I don't see any problem at all.
Yeah, and also as you're saying, Anna, of course it takes time. Like a new sport, it takes time. Now it's changing a lot, and we are looking for a really good 2024 in US and Canada. We are thinking that in those two countries, paddle is going to grow
Mm-hmm.
really big. And it's important also to know that as you know, we are very close to the new clubs that they already opened in the last year, maybe 1, 2, 3 years from now, and they're really working very well. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's difficult to find places to play after 4 p.m. So that means that paddle is the people, they are really loving this sport, and they want to play every day. Now I have some friends that they have clubs in Miami, and if even if you call on the weekend, you don't find any court, and you call after 4 p.m. So what I'm trying also to tell the people, that it's difficult, of course, because we have, building a club is quite difficult, not only in US, all over the world. You have to make a business plan, you have to work in numbers, you have to see, permissions, you have to go through a few things. It's not just putting a paddle club. You have to make a good plan. But what we can tell you is the clubs that they are working right now in US, they are doing really well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's also the social aspect. Once you open a club, I mean, you have to think that the thing about the game is that you're so close to each other. When you finish playing, you want to talk to each other. You want to know more about each other. You want to maybe have a drink, a coffee, a beer, whatever.
Exactly.
And sometimes those, I can say that a lot of my friends are padel players. Those padel players end up being your friends.
Exactly.
We supplied two courses in 2010 in a club in over here in California, and I still go to Los Angeles, and I still see like many people that I knew from there, and I only know them because we used to play padel. So I think the social aspect is also very important. Um, and then what you were saying before, that this all these racket sports that like they're like becoming friends, like pickleball, paddle, beach tennis, anything that it has tennis, anything that is related to racket sports, it's very social. And my advice for clients that want to do this is that pay attention to the social part. You know what I mean? To have a little coffee area, to have a little cafeteria, like a little restaurant, that is going to make people just not to go play paddle, also to go to like a social club, which is actually what I think that humans like right now. Be social.
I'm not a professional as you three in this sector. I'm yet starting, but I can assure you that I just started a year ago playing, and one of the reasons is just that moment of having a beer after and just going here and there, and you don't care, just taking the car to go here and there and try this court and another one, and that's real. And I've never was in kind of racket sports before, so it's true that it's just because of the social and the fun part, and that's for real. And we have one question here, which I think is interesting, that says, "Can pickleball be played on a paddle surface?" And I guess it's the same in the opposite. So I would talk maybe about the importance of the concrete and all that part of the job that some people forget about that and think that that doesn't matter. Maybe, yeah, on which kind of places we can build a paddle court. And yeah, that would be the question I made.
Yeah, so one of the important requirements and always to think about when you're building a club is the subfloor, right? The base where the paddle courts are gonna go, or somebody was asking about pickleball as well, and the importance of having a flat surface indoor. If you have something outdoor, you want to have a little inclination as well. There's certain requirements that you have to follow. And that could be expensive here in the US. That's probably one of the most expensive things is building that concrete base. So, sometimes it's good to think a little bit outside the box to look at possible conversion of tennis courts, or pickleball courts, or any other courts that are not used right now in certain spaces, and finding, these kind of locations to be able to save some money, right? And then, as far as the surface, can you play pickleball on a paddle court? Yeah, you can, but it's not the ideal surface for pickleball, right? And the other way around, right? So also, you want to maximize the use of the courts for that particular sport. So, let's say you have something on a home, for example. Yeah, of course, you can pin some lines or something like this. But in a professional environment, you probably want to separate both.
Actually, this question, nobody asked it. It's my own question. So, as you are in United States, what is the average price of playing a paddle? It's 90 minutes normally, or 60 minutes. What are the average price there for paddle and for pickleball? Maybe just to see the difference, as for some people that are just listening. Is there much difference, or is it similar?
It all depends on the area. Sometimes a pickleball court, depending who does the court, if it's made of concrete, it can be more expensive than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it depends. It depends. I mean, most paddle courts have same price, different models. I think what is important here is delivery and installation. Those are the main things that are going to change the price. So I don't know. I don't want to throw a number there, but if you want to help me, courts can go.
From
I don't know.
20, from 20 to 30,000 euros, dollars here, well, similar dollars, euros. We are similar right now,
Yeah,
Anna. But of course, what you are saying, I think that the most important thing right now, if we take out the concrete slab, as Mario said before, that is a different thing. Here the courses are around those prices, between 20, 30, 40, and it will depend always of we have another court that is around 50 because it's a special court for hurricanes. Then we are going to talk about that. But then we have to add transportation installation. So the rank we go between 20 until 50, depends, of the type of courts or the type of installation, the place when you're going to build it. But that's more the number, no?
Here we have another question, which is, what is a good quantity of courts to have in a location to be profitable? And another question later, yeah, which is a
Yeah,
good.
well, I saw that question. You were asking to be a profitable, to make it profitable, how many courts you will have. I mean, of course, it depends of the place, it depends of the location, it depends of the rent of the place that you're going to pay. It's always an equation that you have to try to see how much you're going to spend to rent the place if you are not the owner of the land. That is very important, that the rent is not too high, because then you will not make it profitable, even if you have 4, 5, 6, 10 courts. But if you ask me, to start, I would think about, to have 4 courts. 4 courts is a good number to start, but it always depends in the location on how much you will pay for the rent, because that is super important, that you have to control the rent that you're going to pay for the space that you're going to build those courts. Because if you go for a high rent, it will not work. So it's very important, when you know how much what the cost will be, per hour and a half that you're going to rent the court for the clients. But also it's super important that you know how much you will pay for the rent of the place.
Yeah, I agree. I would say 4 to 6 And then if we tie that to Sergio's question about what are the common mistakes when opening a club in a new city, it's kind of touching on what Hernan said, finding the right space, the right place that you're going to pay rent on is super important. And I think something that gets that people don't think about, and we see some club owners, is like they're not thinking ahead. Okay, what is my competition going to look like in 2 years, right, from now, 3 years from now? Let's say you're tied to a 5, 10 year lease, whatever that is. Okay, right now, maybe in a new city, you don't have competitors, right? You're by yourself, and then players are just coming to you because you are the only place or one of the few places around, right? But what's going to happen? Think ahead. What's going to happen? What is going to be the differentiating factor for your club, in a few years when the competitor starts popping up? Are you looking at the quality of the courts, at the quality of the turf? What type of experience are you giving your members, right? The social component, like Anna said, is very important, right? Are you building that community, which, if you're one of the first ones, allows you to be positioned that way, and building those communities. So I would say just think ahead, and those things are very, very important. And if you're looking at warehouses and locations, try to find ones that are already flat or arranged with the owner to have a flat surface, flat warehouse, so everything is more simple.
Yeah, and also when you open a club, you have to think that once you have it, people know how to play, but other people don't know how to play. So it's very important to have a leader, to have a trainer, that teaches people how to play. It's very frustrating if you don't have the right skills. You just throw the ball to the glass all the time and you don't realize. So to me, it's very important to have a trainer, to have a leader on the club that is doing leagues, because we would like to compete. Even if we compete with each other, to me, it's not the same to play a Tuesday with my friends than when I play a league. You know what I mean? I want to win if I play a league. With my friends, I play, but it's not the same. So it's also important to have tournaments. The US Padel Association has a lot of tournaments all over the United States. All of those things, also somebody's asking about other revenues. Well, you have paddle rackets, you have paddle balls, you have equipment, have clothing, you have
Sponsors.
set, you have sponsors. And I think that, I mean, every time that sometimes I fly to other cities to play a tournament, and then when I get there, you see people from other places, and you communicate, and you find each other in different cities. I think tournaments, leagues, the right training, the sponsors, all of this, plus the material that you sell, apart from renting the course, is also very important. When you wanna open a club and make it successful.
And Anna, I will ask you a question, because this is a question also from the people that they are writing right now. And as you know, Anna, you have a big experience in building residential courts all over US, and now we are working in a partnership together, Paddle Box and MejorSet, for building residential courts all over US. There's one question that I know from a guy that he's writing, and he's from Mexico, that he's asking in Spanish here, how long we take to install one court in US? How much is the time for the concrete slab and from the court? And I know that you have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I know Rolf, he has a company in Mexico of building courts, so I think that he would like to understand how long it takes this in US.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, from my experience, and the way that we are doing it now, having material in United States, we have courts in stock in United States, which makes things very much easier.
Mhm.
In old times, we used to deliver everything directly from Spain. It was a hassle. Right now, things are done in a different way. So I can tell you that from the moment the client says, yes, I want to work with you, I want a paddle court, and we give them all the information, if when they find the right concrete company, or they have a tennis court that just sometimes they want to make some adjustments, I don't think that it will take more than a month and a half, 2 months to complete the whole entire project. And it's not because of us. I mean, we can send the court tomorrow morning if you want to, but you have to have the base. But once you start all this process, a concrete base might take like maybe like 10 to 7 days to build, and then another week, or depending on the material that they use, 15 days to dry. By the time that it dries, we're already there, supplying the court. So worst case scenario, maybe I'll say 2 months. But if you have already the base ready, well, you can have it next week if you want to.
Yeah, if you have the concrete ready in a place, we have courts in the US, so we can go very quickly. We can be in 1 week over there with the courts, and it's more about the installation time. It depends of how many courts, but normally we always talk about 3 days from installation of one court. If we go for clubs, that is, we are talking about more 4 or 5 courts. Always the time will go a little bit less. Maybe it's 2.5 days to build once we get more than 4 or 5 courts in a club.
Yeah, this is the good thing when you work with like big companies like MejorSet, that they already ahead of time. So it's important that all this homework that that people are starting to do now, it's already done. So having the course here and having the experience here, and having a lot of problems in the past that you already have solved, it helps you to make things like go very easy and very smooth.
Yeah, thank you. And here, Anastasia, there's
Another question. Yes,
another
indoor
question. I mean,
courts or
there's
outdoor?
coming a lot of questions. Thank you. From your experience, are indoor or outdoor courts
Sorry.
better for playing? Well, depends, but I can tell you that the professional players right now, they love playing indoor, because when they have to play in a high level, they don't want to have any problem with, with the wind, with the sun and all that. For me, both places are really nice. I mean, depending of where part of the world you are, of course. If you are in the north, like in the Nordics, you have to go indoor. That would be difficult. But if you go to the south of Spain, for example, if you go to Marbella, you will love to play outdoor, because the sun is all over the year. So it depends of what part of the world you are. You can play indoor and outdoor. Of course,
Yeah.
if you go to the way of playing, to be more comfortable, of course, when you play indoor, it will be better because there's no wind, there's no sun bothering you when you have to smash a ball over there. But normally it's quite similar, when people comes to play. Some people, they want to play, just getting some sun, because they feel more energy about that. But both are really good.
I
I
guess
think
nobody.
yeah,
I was gonna say nobody will hate playing in the Maldivas. That's for sure.
yeah. But if we look at the business side of that equation, you gotta give those players the experience that Hernan is saying. Ideally, you want to have a club that has both, right? That has indoor and outdoor,
Oh,
right?
that would
Even
be
in the Nordic countries, in colder weathers, you might find that during the summer, people prefer to play outside, right? And during the winter, obviously, people tend to go to places that are, more warm, let's say. But at the same time, you gotta look at when you're looking at your club, is okay, how many days per year are you gonna be able to open, right? How many hours are you gonna be able to have the courts running? And obviously, indoor, you're controlling that environment, so that's something important to think about. And if you're looking at doing something outdoors, depends on the weather, and how can you capitalize and profit from those courts when you're outdoors in certain environments, right? Here in San Diego, for example, we have a great weather. The courts are open, most of the year outdoors. But there's other environments where it might be very humid, it might be very hot, it might be very cold, so it just really depends on your location.
Yeah, here in Madrid, for example, that there's not too much rain during the year. Even that, you always would prefer to do an indoor place than to have it outdoor, because you will use it all the year. Even in summer can get really hot here. So to play outdoor in summer, like in July or June, July, August, would be very difficult to play like in the middle of the day. So, for example, in Madrid, I give an example. In Madrid, you will always try to make it indoor to have it more profitable.
Yeah, and then there's tied to a question that Marwan has, which is we're talking about domes or structures or canopies covering spaces. This is kind of a hybrid, right? You're a hybrid between being indoors and outdoors. You have a covering that's protecting you either from the shade or from the rain. And Hernan probably can talk more about these. These are very popular in a country like Spain. There's many places, so you may be able to play outdoors in the winter. You're covered from the elements, but you're still cold, right? It might be raining or snowing, but you are able to have those courts open. So we're seeing a lot of interest here in the U.S. for those covering systems. And they're probably going to play an important role in the future here in the U.S. for the reasons what we said before. Sometimes getting a warehouse is not that easy, but covering courts is important.
Yeah, and we have here one question, which I think is interesting to mention. One special event we will have in Miami next year. Which the question is, I'm interested to know how is Padel maximizing PR in the United States and Canada. And I guess, well, you answer.
Well, I think when you're talking about PR, I think we're very early stages right now to be able to be more public about it. I mean, we've seen, like I said, the feature that was on Paddle on the Today Show. Those things in the media are important, and more of those will come. But you can bring too much awareness right now, baby, and there's not enough courts yet, right? So maybe a little bit more groundwork needs to be done over the next year or so, where we'll get there, in that time.
Well, it's true that we are having the in Miami. I was trying to bring that out in the Racquet X Expo, which I think will be having a lot of PR next year for sure. And from my side, as in the marketing side, I'm seeing a lot of players already being called to play in United States, especially the top players from Premier Padel and World Padel Tour are being called to play for smaller tournaments or places that are trying to get that reach. So I think it's more about time, but from my marketing side, I would say 2024 is going to be huge on
Yeah,
social.
now you have Anastasia, you have the pro league, that was in San Diego a couple of weeks ago that were presenting the next year, and as you know, there's a lot of players that they are starting to play that league. I think that is good, that it will bring a lot of PR also to the market, because you have teams from different cities of US. So I think even there's a team from Canada. So I think that will give a lot of exposure for but things will come. I mean, US is really big. They have a lot of events and PR and and all that. But Padel is there. Of course, we want to run and be there as fast as we can. But things are coming, and we all believe that 2024, not only from the manufacturers, like as we are as MejorSet Padel Box, that we build, courts all over US, but also for the brands and for the tournaments and from events. Looks like 2024 is going to be really a good year, and US and Canada will really start having much more moving and courts that we have until now.
And I would end with maybe two more questions. So if someone wants to ask something that just cannot have without having the answer, just living without the answer, just it's your moment. And for now we have, do you see Padel expanding out from the current epicenters of United States, like Miami, Houston, or do you believe it will happen randomly?
It's already happening.
It's already happening.
Yeah, behind the scenes, sometimes it's not easy when you're outside, but when you're inside the industry here in the US, and when we're talking to clients all day long, and we're talking to clients all over the US, not just those epicenters. Obviously, Miami is in a different level, but it's a great example of what can happen, in that space. The same thing as Hernan touched before, Sports House in Connecticut placed some courts no long ago, and they've been very successful, and there's a lot of traction on that part of the country as well. And we see that Texas is tremendous, what's happening there, and what's coming. But basically, it's all over the U.S. There's interest from everywhere in the US,
Yeah.
So some places is just they're a little behind, let's say, but those clubs are gonna be starting in 2024. I see some friends from Canada as well. Yeah, Canada is huge. The interest right now we have in Canada, and so it's all coming. It's just a matter of time, like Hernan said. It's just happening. And it's happening a little bit behind the scenes, but we see all this. This is just basically now is unstoppable. What's happening?
Mhm. So that's why it's important, Mario, Ana, Anastasia, that the people they can understand that we as a MejorSet, we are believing a lot in the market in US and Canada. That's why we open our business and our office over there with Mario in San Diego. So and we are having our warehouses when we have already our courts over there, so we can be really fast, with delivery of courts, and also we have our own installation teams for installation and for after sales. That's very important when we come to the quality of the courts. It's not only about the courts, but it's also about the service that we do as a company. We believe that we have to do a super good service in installation and also in after service. After service, after sales is super important because we don't want to leave the client alone once we finish. We have to be there if there's any problem, and we want to be a company that we are working in a long term with everybody. So we are those kind of companies that we think not doing huge amounts, but yes, to do a big amounts, but always to try our clients as the best ones ever, always.
Yeah, I think the after sales over here is very important, and because our companies are based in United States. When anybody has a problem, the only thing that they have to do is pick up the phone and call or send a text message. We answer right away. Anything that can happen to the core. I know you need a new net. How do I spread the sand? What do I do with this glass? It looks like it's moving. One of the lights is not working like the other ones. You get immediate assistance. And I think that this is very important and this is very different. It makes a difference between us and maybe the rest, a lot of the companies that are still in Europe. The fact that we are here and that we have experience, it also gives more peace of mind to the clients.
Completely true. So I guess it's the moment, Hernan, to introduce our new type of chord that we will
Yes,
be launching
we
in.
have we have been working in the last year. I tell you, in the last year, because what we believe that we have to have all our courts certified by engineers in US. So we have been working, and Anna also knows that because she had been doing this for the last 10 years. So we have been working very hard from MejorSet to have all our courts, with all the certifications that has to be done in US to sell our course, and to give the clients all the details. So here we are going to present that we have been working in the last month for the new. This is a special code that we built for hurricanes. Okay, this is a special code that is prepared to support winds of more than 250 kilometers. This is a special code that is more for places like Florida, also for places like California, that for due to the weather conditions, uh, we have been working, and now you can find this beautiful design of code that we have just launched today, and we are going to start bringing to the market in the next month. So here you have it. We always try to continue with the same type of quality of codes and design that we have. So we have this special extreme code that we are preparing for high weather conditions. In this case, is for more than 250 kilometers of wind load.
Yeah, which that happens to be 65 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And it's very important, like Hernan is saying, to have this type of solutions for all the weather. I mean, somebody there is mentioning Kansas,
Yes.
right? So yeah, these are certified by engineers based on standard norm standards in the U.S. And we'll be happy to discuss where you can apply this type of courts based on requirements from your cities, etc. So just please feel free to contact us, and we'll help you and guide you on that. I just want to touch base too that we have an official court for the International Padel Federation, which we're proud partners of. And yeah, anything that you need from us, we're available.
I would say that for some that maybe don't know this, we launched this year as well a new configurator in which you can try a 3D option to see what are our chords and how you can customize them and how is everything working. So I'm gonna just display this small video for all of you so you understand how it works, and I hope you like it. So as you saw, it was short. I hope you like it. And yeah, you can, as I said, you can find it on our website. You can try it only on the desktop mode for now. We don't have it on the mobile. It will be launched soon, but meanwhile you can test it there. And if you have any question, you can always reach us through the chat or through the forums.
Yeah, I see some questions on Joseph, Magnus, all you guys. If you want to reach us directly, we can help you and get answers some of those questions for you if we haven't answered them today. So
yeah, this was the first webinar. It's not going to be the last one. We'll be launching probably another one. We'll be trying by the end of the year. If not, in the beginning of 2024, for sure, we'll be launching another one. So I guess we can keep these questions for later, or as I said, as Mario said, you can always reach us directly.
And then, like Anastasia mentioned before, in March there's a trade show, a racket show in Miami, Racket X, and we'll be having the main core there, the central core for paddle, and we'd like to invite all of you guys to come over there and meet us if you happen to be in Miami at that time of the year. And then Hernan, also we have the World Paddle Summit in Malaga, right, May?
Yeah, in May.
Maybe another great opportunity if you happen to be in Spain. We'll be there as well. So we look forward to meeting all of you guys.
Well, thank you very much, guys. We're closing then the stream for today. And well, have a good evening, afternoon, depending on where are you in the world.
Morning. Oh,